falls down even in the face, take the shotgun, point at his head. I you not, dude. Right when I'm about to pull the trigger, his girlfriend jumps on top of him and starts crying and like begging. Begging for his life.
So you were gonna pull the trigger?
Fuck yeah, but like,
hold on. Let me just stop for a second. Rogan, like I said, is a grown up. So he's like, oh my God. He's like, so you were gonna commit a murder? And he's like, F yeah. And Rogan's like, your enthusiasm for this story is off base for your age. All right, Jesse on Fire. So we're going to talk about Sean Strickland today because Sean Strickland had a big week. He got a big knockout victory last Saturday, and then he did the Joe Rogan Experience this week. And in the history of the world, there have been a lot of crazy interviews. A lot of people have said a lot of crazy things. And I think I could say unequivocally that this is the craziest interview that anyone's ever given ever. Certainly the craziest interview that Joe Rogan has ever done that I could think of, and I've watched a lot of them. And here's the other thing. I haven't even watched the whole thing. I have watched a good maybe 25 minutes, skipping around just to see, right? And the other thing, well, I'm going to get into it. The other thing I want to talk about is he specifically called out Ali Abdelaziz, and this is more like a direct like fight business type of question about managers coming to gyms and then setting up fights. He made some pretty like... Honestly, I'm actually not even 100% sure exactly what the accusation is. I'm going to show it to you, and then you guys can figure out if I'm right when I tell you what I think he means, and then I'll respond to it because I think, again, the logic is a little bit weird. And then I want to talk about everyone calling for him to get a title shot right now because I think that speaks volumes about Sean Strickland and a very specific phenomenon as it relates to the UFC and the UFC business because, well, anyway, we'll get into it. So we're going to talk about that. That's all we're going to talk. I'm going to show you guys some really, really crazy stuff that he said. Talk about it. Talk about Rogan. And we're going to go from there because what's up? And then if we have some time, I want to talk about Ronda Rousey. Anyway, so if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and do that. We got a big fight tomorrow. Very, very excited. Very excited for the fights tomorrow. If you guys watch my content, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. That's all I ask. It is not a free channel. It just doesn't cost money. It costs your subscription. So if you haven't clicked subscribe yet, please do that and we'll rock. All right. So, okay. So where to even start? I guess let's actually just start with the Ali Abdelaziz thing, since that is probably the lowest, it's like the, there's like a direct, like, here's what he said. I'm going to respond to that. And then we'll get into the more like, look at, So let's start there, all right? Let's start right there, and let's listen to what he said, and then I will respond to it because...
As you guys know, Sean Strickland was recently a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast. During the interview, Strickland went off on Ali Abdelaziz, who went to Extreme Couture to watch Strickland spar with Marvin Vettori, and then got Abus Magomedov the fight with Strickland. Sean also stated that managers shouldn't be allowed in gyms. Here's the clip.
Well, that Ali, that cunt, the manager. I mean, I'm probably gonna rub some people the wrong way, but him, I'm gonna see him. We're gonna go fighting after I say that. He's like, did you hear what Sean said about me? I'm like, yeah, you're a cunt, dude.
I like how he did the accent.
Yeah, he's a cunt. So like this cunt, Ali. Good thing. I mean, I don't give a.
Hang on. Okay, so the person who was editing this, you edited out the F-bomb, but not the C part. I'm very confused by that. I'm just saying, like, if you're trying to avoid getting banged by YouTube, the C word is equivalent to the F-bomb. Matter of fact, I tend to find that my videos that get 18 plus, I have said that other word more. Anyway.
He comes to the gym and he watches me spar Marvin Vettori, right? And then we spar Marvin Vettori. I don't give a Marvin's a friend of mine. I'm trying to help him. And then 3 weeks later, you pull out this fucking guy to fight me. And then you start betting a prayer that he's going to beat me. Like, you rat, dude. You come watch me spar, and you pull this guy out of your hat, and you go bet Alex is going to beat me. So it's like...
That's standard, though.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't think managers should be in the gym. I think if you...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. I need to respond to that. So, let me tell you why I want to respond to this, because, listen, Sean Strickland has exceptional fight game. Spoiler, where I'm going with this video is that I totally understand why people want to see him get a title shot, and I'm totally on board with that. I want to see him have a title shot because this is a fight. This is the fight business where people come to get entertained, right? He is entertaining. He is very entertaining in in press conferences. I don't think he cares whether or not people like him very much. I genuinely think that like he doesn't. Most people are all, I don't care what people think of me. 98% of the time, that is not true. I think it's completely true in his case. I think he genuinely does not care. So, that being said, I will say the following. Being entertaining on the microphone and then being entertaining in the octagon don't have anything to do with the ability to have logical arguments. Because what is his argument here? You know, like what's he trying to indicate? He says that he's like, Ali Abdelaziz came to Extreme Couture. He watched me spar Marvin Vettori. Then he came up with an opponent who, I mean, this helped you. This helped Sean, right? He comes up with an opponent. They get set up for a fight. And then he bet Alex Pereira that his guy was going to beat me. It's like, okay. So let's just go backwards, right? So he bet Alex Pereira that his guy was going to win. Okay. So he is publicly endorsing his fighter, right? Like Alex Pereira has a big platform. So he says, hey, Alex, I'll bet you that Sean Strickland's going to lose to my guy. That is just publicly endorsing his own fighter. He's clear on that. You think that managers don't bet on their own guy? I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand at all. So the second part is that he came to Extreme Couture and he watched me start Marvin and then suddenly has an opponent for me. Okay, so the indication, I guess, is that Ali Abdelaziz was in Extreme Couture, like spying on their training session. And then once he saw him sparring against Vettori, he was like, ooh, now I know enough about Sean. I think I'm going to feed him to this guy. Now, does that make any sense to anyone? Okay, now if you're saying yes, let me just pose a counter argument. Sean Strickland has fought in the UFC 100,000 times, okay? He fights the same every time. Sean Strickland spars all the time, and he posts his sparring footage on the internet all the time. So unless the indication is that he was doing something secret with Marvin Vettori, or that Marvin Vettori exposed some huge weakness that he had that no one who wasn't in the gym would have known about, then what exactly are we talking? Like, seriously, like what is the implication? You know what I mean? Like, oh, the manager saw him spar Marvin Vettori. Right. Dude, you've been in the UFC forever, dude. You're a known entity. I genuinely don't understand. I don't understand. Now, managers in the gym, that's a different conversation. You know, that's a different conversation. Here's what I would say to that. I would say that I understand people not wanting people in the gym. Like, let's say, as an example, when TJ Dillashaw left Team Alpha Male, right? And they're like, look, you can't train with us anymore, right? You can't train with us anymore. They don't want a person in there training with them when they are actively going to be fighting against the guys here for the title. Like, that I understand. Some managers train, I guess, in a situation like that kind of makes sense. But, like, is that the same situation for Ali Abdelaziz and Extreme Couture? Because as I've understood it, Ali's guys train at Extreme Couture when they're in Vegas. That's what I've always heard. I've always heard that Ali's guys train at Extreme Couture when they're in Vegas. So, again, I'm not saying it's never inappropriate for a manager to be in any fight gym, but this example makes no sense to me at all. Like, Strickland is a tough-ass dude, but I doubt he's doing any kind of, like, secret training that Ali Abdelaziz watched. Now I know who can whip his ass. That just doesn't seem realistic to me. So I don't really understand what I just think he's probably pissed. He probably doesn't like Ali, and then it pissed him off that he bet Pereira publicly against, you know what I mean? So if he's just like, I don't like Ali Abdelaziz, I don't want him in the gym. I mean, there's lots of people who have lots of personal problems with people in the fight business, but his positioning makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Now, moving on to his actual interview, which was bananas. Actually, I want to say the other part first. Okay, so Sean Strickland. Now, people are like, is Sean Strickland going to get a title shot? The first person that sent that to me, I was like, what? A title shot? I'm like, he's 1-2 in his last 3 fights. I don't like what? How would he possibly get a title shot? He's 1-2 in his last 3 fights, right? Like it was like the second loss was definitely a tough decision that could have gone kind of either way. The one with Cannonier, but it's like, oh, never mind. He's 2-2 in his last 4 fights. I apologize for that. That was incorrect. I just went to look that up because I was like, man, is that right? So he's 2-2 in his last 4. So he does have 2 in a row. You know what, dude? I'm gonna say something right now. That changes things in middleweight, dude. He is in line for a title shot. I take that back. I was going to say, well, regardless, the point I was going to make still stands, right? The point I was going to make still stands, which is the following, okay? What I was going to say if he was 1-2 in his last 3, or just the fact he's 2-2 in his last 4, is it shows that if a guy can talk on the mic, like this is what when he had won previously, right? Like his previous 3 wins before the 2 losses were decision, right? And then his most recent win before this one, decision. So he had 4 consecutive wins that were by decision. And so when he's like, oh, I'm going to get a title shot, everyone was kind of like, He has top of the food chain microphone skills. That guy is incredible on the microphone. He is incredible at building up fights. He is absolutely amazing at building up fights. For sure, no one would ever question that. Top of the UFC even. I mean, honestly, dude, I'm going to make a statement that people might push back on, but I think out of every single person in the UFC, Sean Strickland might, active fighters might be the best on the microphone at promoting fights and press conferences in the entire organization. He might be the number 1 guy. He honestly, as a matter of fact, he is the number 1 guy as far as I'm concerned. He is incredible at promoting fights. Bottom line. I am going to say that. I'm talking while I'm thinking. I am saying that. He's the best guy on the microphone in press conferences, period. Point blank, period. The best guy. So, with that said, all it took was 1 stoppage win. One stoppage win where he put the guy out. Whipped his ass, finished him. Second round where people were like, title shot. And I say that because it's like, what I'm trying to point out is that stoppage wins are so much more impactful than decisions. Just bottom line, especially early in the fight, like a second round stoppage. Dude, that's like a 100-pound dumbbell versus a solid decision is like a 35. It makes so much difference. So if you've got that combination, best in the game on the microphone promoting fights currently, I am saying this. Every time I'm saying that, I'm trying to think. I'm like, am I saying something that's just completely not correct? And I'm sure there are people that would push back. Colby is excellent. Connor's obvious. I mean, it's Connor, but he's like not fighting, so I'm not putting him in there. Obviously, Connor would be the best. But yeah, but you keep getting decision wins, dude. You don't get all the way there. You put a guy out like he did, Magomedov, that's a different ballgame. So that is what I'm going to say about that phenomenon. You get stoppage wins. It is a whole different universe. Now, let me move over to his interview that he did with Rogan, aside from just the one thing they said about Ali Abdelaziz. Wow, bro. I mean, wow. This was, without a doubt, the craziest interview I've ever seen. I'm talking the craziest interview I've ever seen. By 100 miles. I guarantee you, if you asked Rogan, have you ever had anyone on that did a crazier interview than this? Rogan would say, no. Strickland talked about how he's that he intentionally became a sociopath. There's no way I can even do it justice, dude. I'm going to play one clip for you right here where he was talking to Rogan about a time where he almost killed a guy. And it's not the fact that he, it's like it's not just like, oh, I almost killed a guy. That's kind of like the point of why I'm showing it to you. I'm showing it to you because it's like how he talks about it to Joe Rogan, right? Like Rogan is, I don't know, like I don't know how else to say this. Rogan's a grown up. Like Rogan is a grown up. Like Strickland, I've never seen a person who is more 14 years old in a grown 32-year-old's body. I've never. I watched this interview. I was like, I remember having conversations just like this. He sounds exactly like my crew when I was 13. Like this is exactly the kind of stuff that I gravitated towards when I was 13 years old. To the point where it was giving me like deja vu. But then I'm like, man, I haven't heard anyone talk like this since I was 13 years old. Okay, so here's an example. He's talking to Joe Rogan about a time where he almost killed a guy who put a gun on him or something.
Girlfriend comes downstairs, said, you got to leave. And I'm like, all right, woman, like, my bad. I fucked up. Like, hey, he's your friend. I don't even know you guys. I was invited here. He attacked me. He's my buddy, but fuck it. So anyways, as I'm walking to the door, she comes down again. She says, my boyfriend's upstairs, and like, you got to pay for the wall too. And like, she had this look, dude. She had this look like, kind of like scared, So me being a fucking, fucked up sociopath, like, oh, I gotta hurt somebody. I'm like,
scared because she's telling a person self-describing himself as a fucked up sociopath like 10 years later. So imagine, or 20 years later, how cool he probably thought it was at the time that he has to pay for a wall. Of course she's scared. Of course she's scared. Anyway.
Like, well, if he wants to pay for the wall, he can come fucking suck my dick and earn the money. Next thing I know, dude, he comes out and takes a fucking shotgun, fucking racks it right to my fucking head. And mind you, dude, guys, if somebody wants to kill you, generally you're dead. Like, if somebody puts a gun on you and you don't get you don't get plugged right off the back, there's a chance you're gonna walk out of that one.
That is a very good point. If they want to kill you, they'll usually kill you. If they put a gun on you, usually they are mad and they want to scare you.
So you should probably just do what they say. So anyways, I put my hands up and I'm like begging. I'm like, dude, please, no, man. Don't fucking shoot me, dude. I'm so fucking sorry. I just want to leave. I want to leave. And then all of a sudden I grab the gun, just fucking start slamming his head to the wall. Boom, fucking falls down even in the face. Take the shotgun, point at his head. I shit you not, dude. Right when I'm about to pull the trigger, his girlfriend jumps on top of him and starts crying and like begging.
Oh my God.
Begging for his life.
So you were gonna pull the trigger?
Fuck yeah. But
hold on. Let me just stop for a second. Rogan, like I said, is a grown up. So he's like, oh my God. He's like, so you were gonna commit a murder? And he's like, fuck yeah. And Rogan's like, your enthusiasm for this story is off base for your age.
Like, but then it's like, it's not that, but the problem was the only way I wouldn't have done it, like, that's a hard case to beat. That's a hard case. Like, you have the
only reason I wouldn't have done it is because that's a hard case to beat. You're like, wait, dude, this happened how long ago? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, whatever, like 12 years ago. You're like, and you still wish you would have killed this dude? Like, you destroyed their house. She asked you to pay for the wall. You told his girlfriend, fuck you, tell him to come suck my dick. He came down with a gun. You took it from him and beat him up, and you almost killed him. And the only reason that you're happy, you didn't actually kill this dude is because it would have been a hard case to beat. This is what I'm talking about. You're like, dude, are you 11 years old? You'd be doing life in prison. You'd have killed a dude for no reason. Anywho, I'll let you listen to Rogan's reaction to this.
Gone, he's defenseless. Like, oh, it's a hard case to beat.
Yeah, you ain't beating that case.
Ah, fuck. I mean,
definitely not beating that case.
I say I felt threatened.
0% chance.
But the problem was I was also fucking fighting 2 felony GBIs.
Not good.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to put this to bed, there is no chance you're beating that case. Well, the guy pulled a gun on you. It's not a no chancer. Not a no chancer. But if you have 2 felony, I don't even, what's a GBI? Whatever. You got 2 felony cases pending. Very, Well, if you took the gun from him and he's down like this and you shot him anyway, for sure you're not beating the case, actually. For sure. Anyway, listen to Rogan.
Man, fucking A, dude. But yeah, I was going to be my first confirmed kill, you guys. I'm kind of sad it never happened.
Well, I'm glad.
Come on, dude. You got to want to smoke somebody. You probably carry a gun when you got to. There would be a time in your life you wanted.
I would like to go to my grave without ever killing anybody.
Why?
Why?
Are you religious?
Because I don't want to be be in that.
Well, I mean, let's just say you get one free pass.
Someone's
free pass.
Son.
Oh
Someone's.
You should raise your son not to be a fucking asshole.
This is what I'm saying, dude. This is like, you see, right? Like, it's not like if I tried to just explain what this interview is like to people, I couldn't do it justice. You know what I mean? It's not like I couldn't explain. I had to show it to you, right? It's like he's 14 years old. Like he's 14 years old. And Rogan is literally just Rogan's just like, I don't know how to react to this because you sound 12-ish, maybe 12-ish years old. So yeah, that is what that interview is like. And nonetheless, like I said, dude, you don't have to have him over for a barbecue to be entertained by him when he fights in the UFC. So there's certainly no disrespect or anything like that. It's just, he's 12, He is 12. Dangerous, would whip your fucking ass, but 12 years old, So, yeah, I'm looking forward to him getting a title shot against Izzy and seeing if that 12-year-old can beat up Israel Adesanya, because if Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis have a weak-ass fight, they should have Strickland fight Paulo Costa. That's what they should have Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland fight pronto. And the winner, whoever has the best showing out of, du Plessis, Whittaker, Strickland, Paulo, give them the title shot. I want to see this 12-year-old fight again now. I can't, honestly, here, watch this. Just watch this, okay? I'm going to pick completely random. I haven't watched past that, right? So I haven't seen anything I'm going to show you. I'm literally going to just randomly, boop. I just skip forward 35 minutes. Let's see.
Not, but I was angry. Cause and effect. But man, the amount of progress that happened for the gays in such a short period of time, wild.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of people think that amount of progress has happened for the trans movement too. But I think what has to happen is things go too far and then they even out. And then what's really going to be a fucking long string of lawsuits, which is 100% coming, is these detransitioners. These people that were forced to transition or encourage.
Hate these motherfuckers, dude. This is what I'm going to do. If I ever do something really bad, you guys, I'm going to be like John Jones.
I think those guys don't want to be bad. I think there's a lot, we're not just talking about John. I'm talking about a lot of people that embrace the Lord. I think they generally hate what they've done and they feel.
Anyway, I can promise you without having watched it that Sean Strickland is he's not trying to be good. He's anyway. Give it a look, dude. It's entertaining, if nothing else. Love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.